Ladies and gentlemen, some of you might be too young, but the big era between Prince and Michael Jackson, Prince had the most unique songs. 1999 to year 2000, Party Over. Well, is the party over once you get in your mid 30s and you still a nightclub girl? The party's gonna end at some point, so let's get into it.
Currently, many workers in nightclubs in Guangdong are being laid off.
Oh,
Nationwide, there is a crackdown on nightclubs, and places like Shanghai, Chengdu, Shenzhen, Wuhan, and many others have become primary targets. The main focus is on strict inspections of bathhouses and massage establishments offering paid services. After all, in China, there are 30 million single men.
damn.
If nightclubs really shut down, where will so many nightclub girls go?
OnlyFans.
Why do those girls involved in business after stepping away end up living worse than before? To put it simply, after leaving, their income decreases. It's hard to transition from luxury to a simpler life.
Well, see, that's the thing. Not everybody does it for not luxury prices, but luxury goods. Some people do it because they want to support a family, their family, or they want to put savings aside for investments and starting a business. So not everybody's in it for materialistic causes.
Quality of life doesn't keep up. The girls working in the city at night, the most frightening thing is that they get used to staying up late and drinking, developing bad habits. How can they get accustomed to a normal life? Doing easy things, making quick money, and spending when they go out. They want to buy whatever they want with no habit of saving. When they run out of money, they say, okay, I'll work a few more days. When they have money, they buy a plane ticket to go out and take pictures. When they've had enough fun, they come back to work. They go on like this for several years without any purpose. Some girls, when they get older, wake up to the reality and realize they can't continue like this. They want to find a clean job where they can earn a few thousand a month.
And see, the problem with that is you got to look for these careers when you're like in your mid 20s, not when you're about to be 40. Because see, age discrimination is real when it comes to the corporate world or whatever corporate and organization you're trying to get in. Your age does matter. You're going to get age discriminated against because see, well, I don't know about over there in China, but over here in the West, if you're over 40, these employers, when they look at your resume, they're going to assume that you're out of shape and you're too slow. Far as blue collar work, electricians, construction, whatever. But in this generation, a lot of people are looking for white collar jobs, jobs that don't require you to get your fingernails dirty. Yeah, I said it. Because let's just face it, a lot of us are out of shape and lazy.
After paying for transportation, food, and rent, what's left is probably not enough to sustain themselves.
$400.
If they look for a job with a higher salary, but their education level is lacking, what can they learn? They don't have the patience for that, and they're even less willing to endure hardships because they are used to making quick money. So they need to find a wealthy long-term partner. And if they can't find one, they will have to return to their old ways.
They could find a wealthy long-term partner. Cassie sure did. We're not gonna get into the big details on that. But see, people with money treat people like shit. Yeah, you're gonna get treated like shit if that's the partner that you're looking for. People with money are not the nicest to their spouses or their family because usually they control people with their money. So not only will you be controlled with money, but you're gonna be sharing that man with other women. Concubine.
Falling into a vicious cycle.
How does a girl step by step fall into that situation? Today, I want to share with you the life trajectories of the girl.
I started this video off talking about 1999, Party Over, after 1999, but in 1999, there was this game that came out called Parasite Eve, and that's what this girl looks like. If you old enough, you know what I'm talking about. If you was a gamer back in the 1990s, PS1 era, this was right before the GameCube and everything came out. But Parasite Eve, I think it was like Resident Evil or something, but yeah, that was good nostalgia. That's what this girl looks like. Her eyes are to die for.
Girls I learned about in those places. At the beginning, you are just selling in a bar, very innocent. Barely able to touch anything. It's just accompanying clients to drink a little. Playing some small games. Then you see the performance of people around you improving, while you can only earn a little money. So you start to push your own boundaries for the first time to earn more.
Huh.
At this point, you really start to make a lot more than before. But every night you drink until very late. And you often vomit. So
You know Badussi is involved in this, right? That's basically what you were saying. Pushing yourself. Yeah. You get drunk. And see, and we're going to take it on the STD level too. Because see, you got to remember, these girls, these bar girls, casino girls, these are probably the worst women to sleep with. Because you got to remember, when they go to the room with you, they're drunk. You guys have sex. You fall asleep. And all the bodily fluids in between the crevices of your legs stay moist, and that's where viruses and bacteria like to grow. And next thing you know, you got some kind of skin disease or STD.
you begin to reflect. Is this really worth it? At that moment, through observations, you discover that the secret to others' improved performance is selling very expensive alcohol, leading to a significant increase. So, you start trying to sell to those wealthy guys. But after many attempts, you still can't make a sale. Later on, finally, one day, a 40-year-old uncle wants to put his arm around your waist. You initially refuse. But when you see the uncle's bill, you hold back. So the uncle starts to act inappropriately, and you reluctantly push him away when he gets too forward.
I got money. How dare you reject me? That's what they talking about, the uncle, the older guy that's balded. The short bald man has more money than the young, handsome fellow that's probably struggling in his career if he even has one. And see, that's another thing. Most people in the club are broke. The young people in the club, broke. These girls, they work for the club. So they're just promoters pretty much. Promote you to buy expensive drinks and shit. So that's what I learned early in my club days when I was in my 20s. I'm in my late 30s now. I do not hang out in these environments. I know better places to go to get what I want.
You're happy when the uncle leaves, because it was a very productive day. A few days later, the uncle comes back, and you really dislike him, but he spends a lot of money. So you win, going up to give him a big hug.
And a kiss.
And he certainly doesn't disappoint you. The uncle spends a lot again. And this time you feel too shy to refuse some of the uncle's small actions. So he starts to elevate your status. And your life begins to improve. One day, the uncle invites you to a late-night snack. And you refuse. The uncle doesn't say anything more. And just like that, he never calls you again. You go back to the days of drinking and vomiting without earning any money. And you feel anxious.
And see, this is one thing you got to understand. Most young women in their 20s are doing this. The only difference is some of them are getting paid or some of them are not. We're not going to judge so much on looks because even average plain Janes can do this. Because there's a simp for every woman. So just remember that. Women are always going to get simped on. And Chad, Brad, Pookie's, Ray Ray's, they think they're getting it for free until pregnancy, STDs, and all that. So,
but you can't seem to take that step. Not long after, luckily, a handsome guy shows up, and you shamelessly manage to sell him drinks. This time, the handsome guy invites you to have late-night snacks with him. You don't refuse, telling yourself this isn't a transaction. It's just being pursued. It's normal to go out for a date. What's wrong with that? Don't you often get pursued by those poor guys at school? After a few dates, the guy stops coming. He doesn't look for you. And you begin to spill your frustrations about not being able to sell drinks, as you see life becoming unsustainable. Luckily, the uncle comes back again. This time you actively invite the uncle out for a late-night snack. And he had bought a lot of drinks from you before. So you start meeting more uncles and handsome guys. And your life improves more and more. One day, you hear your girlfriend say that at a KTV she switched to, they earn much more than here. But there will be some small actions from clients. You feel...
What kind of actions? You see how this is like they covering this stuff up, man. You know what's going on in that karaoke room. Boom, boom in the karaoke room. Chris Rock said there's no sex in the champagne room, but depending on who you are and if you're an older uncle with some simp cash, there's some sex in that champagne room.
Feel there might not be much difference. So you decide to try it. Sure enough, you earn significantly more there than here. Just tell a little story. Move your hands a bit, and money will come into your pocket. Your income doubles compared to when you were at the bar. But good times don't last.
No, they don't.
The
baby.
tasks assigned by the manager will only yield commissions after completion. You begin to try asking clients for their WeChat, so they can book a room with you next time. But the result isn't easy. No one is looking for you. Eventually, you become an old employee, and the client resources in your hands keep increasing. But still, no one is booking rooms with you. After a long time, you finally discover the secret. Clients will only book rooms with the young girls they eat late-night snacks with.
You know, it's kind of like a lineup. A good example. Rush Hour 2. Remember when they were in that spa, him and Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan? Remember how they had to choose from the lineup which girls that they wanted? All beautiful women, right? But the youngest are always going to get chosen first over than the older women. That's just how it goes.
You don't know when it started, but you begin to often accompany clients for late-night snacks. And at this point, you really earn a lot more than before. However, you notice that the long nights and excessive drinking have made your skin rough, and crow's feet are starting to appear at the corners of your eyes. So you begin to panic. You start desperately taking care of your skin to rejuvenate your face, not knowing what to do if you lose this face. Even though you're earning much more than before, the money in your hands seems to vanish quickly.
Just like your looks, because alcohol dehydrates your skin. So you could tell who's partied and drank it up a lot, popping pills in their early 20s to mid 30s. Because see, if I go to a high school reunion, which we're almost 37, 38, it's going to be a lot of people looking like the ground. Like life has literally whooped their ass. So that's what a lot of these people would look like at a high school reunion, in which I didn't go to the last two, but I'm like, what am I looking at? It's like half the people I'm not even going to recognize because life whooped their ass.
So you move your hands from the front to the back, which means you can go out. Of course, you're earning much more than before. You can buy all kinds of designer bags. Relatives and friends start to envy you, but you don't know when it started. You notice your body seems to be failing. You can only work once every few days, and the money in your hands is fading fast. So you start to think, if you can earn money without spending it, if there's a way to earn money without drinking, how great that would be. After all, you have to go on business trips every day, and still have to drink. Naturally, the center you go to receives 3 to 4 clients a day, without drinking, without harming your body. Just like that. You spent 2 years, and you find you are becoming less and less appealing in this circle. You regret not coming here earlier. You are no longer a girl in your 20s.
Nope.
What do you have to compete with others? Otherwise, you won't be able to stay in the center either. You went to a street massage shop, earning dozens of dollars for an hour. Did you see that? Step by step, it's so natural. Do you know what the biggest harm of these places is? It's that they continually lower your bottom line, corrupt your soul.
Meaning, as you get older, you'll make less money because, like I said, the younger women are going to get chosen over the older women. I mean, you could do it as long as you want to, but there's going to be a day where you can't do it.
You think you can hold on. But that's because you're in a normal circle now. Ordinary people don't have such strong boundaries. Once you change your circle, you naturally break your bottom line. You don't even need others to persuade you. In this line of work, there's very little regret. Do you know why? Because in that environment, you've already been assimilated. Your soul has already fallen. Finally, I want to tell everyone, making money is important.
Yes, it is.
But the way you earn money is even more important. You can only earn a proper living in a legitimate industry.
And see, that's another thing. With these girls and these people making all this money from their clients, the problem is, what about your medical? See, you better keep your health up the best way you can, because if you're going to need medicine and seeing doctors and stuff, that's going to get costly without a real medical plan from an employer. So that's the only downfall. It's like, I'm hoping these people actually save up for if they need some kind of surgery or a transplant or something. Yeah. See, they're leaving that part out. So you can make all this fast money and the money goes quick. And at the same time, you just pretty much shit out of luck if something happens to you on the health side. So yeah.
Hello everyone. I am DJ My My. My God. Last night was the time I drank the most in my life. To the point of finishing the bottle.
Damn.
I don't even know how I got home.
Whoa.
I'll have to ask the company when I get to work how I really got home. I only realized the next day that I really felt completely powerless. In our industry, we can choose to refuse to drink or not. But yesterday, since I met my friends, I ended up drinking too much. I couldn't control myself. After the birthday party ended, I went back to focusing on 2 private rooms. And while I was busy with those 2, I couldn't stop continuing to drink. Today, not only do I smell like alcohol, but I feel like the room, the bed sheets, seems like every corner has a very unpleasant smell.
Her OCD kicked in. But I'm like, that's crazy. How much did she drink? And she had to entertain 2 different rooms. So, wow. No telling what happened.
It might be that I'm just too sensitive. In this inverted routine, I don't know how long I'll have to endure this. So I really want to give up. I don't want to live this life anymore.
Uh-oh. It sounds like somebody's looking at marriage. Or a sugar daddy.
I just want to find someone to marry. But I still can't make that decision. I'm afraid that one day I won't be strong enough. If I randomly marry someone, I'm afraid of not being treated well at my in-laws' house, without having any status. So, I ended up giving up that idea.
And see, another thing is, a lot of these girls aren't stupid. Some of these girls are doing this secondary. Like they have something else going on in the meantime. That's what I was saying earlier in the video, that they're not doing this. Like this isn't like all of their life. Like they actually have something going on the side, and they could pretty much give it up comfortably and adjust comfortably. But yeah.
I'll continue making my short videos. It was in an unexpected opportunity that I chose to be a content creator, recording my real life. One video, I was very lucky, with views exceeding 140,000. And that gave me more motivation, making me choose this side job. Actually, I'm a newbie. In the beginning, I didn't know how to monetize these videos. But it was really a slow process of discovery, little by little, learning gradually. If you persist in something, tomorrow everything will prove itself, and your dedication will have a reward. So for the sisters who want to do this, it's time to start. Well, I need to go pick up a package. With winter coming, I bought 2 thermal tops for myself, so I can keep warm, especially when we go back home for the new year. It really isn't possible to endure without one of these underneath. Otherwise, we'll freeze to death. These thermal tops have options with and without lining. We can choose. Since I'm a little more sensitive to the cold, I buy those with a bit more lining. Maybe some sisters prefer to wear something not too thick, so they can opt for the ones without lining. It's unbelievable. A thermal top that costs 30-something yuan, even with lining, has amazing elasticity. The most important thing is that, whether it's white or black, it looks so good on the
I mean, she ain't bad looking at all. I mean, I'll scoop her up. WeChat, please.
body that it actually makes you look slimmer. This thermal top is perfect for people from the south and the north. It keeps us very warm, and it matches with any coat we wear. This thermal top in black and white is the best to match. So sisters who like it, hurry up and try it.
Why do many girls working in entertainment venues find their lives worse after leaving? To put it simply, it's because once they leave these places, their income decreases, and their living standards can't keep up. It's hard to transition from a life of luxury to a more modest one.
What she means is she comes out of that Mercedes and ends up in a Nissan Altima or a Sentra. What a downgrade, right? But it happens to the best of us.
The scariest part about working in a bar isn't just staying up all night drinking, but rather that once you develop those bad consumption habits, it's very difficult to return to a normal life. The girls who work in nightclubs feel like everything is very easy.
While they're young.
They want to buy something and just buy it, and they don't have the habit of saving. When they run out of money, they work a few days, and when they have money, they buy a ticket and travel anywhere, taking photos with their friends.
Instagram.
They go on like this, aimlessly. Years go by like this. Some girls, as they get a bit older, realize that their lives can't continue this way, that they can't go on like this. They start thinking about finding a decent job, earning a few thousand a month.
Yeah, when they too damn old.
If you consider transportation, food, and rent, it will probably be hard for them to support themselves. They look for a high-paying job, but with low education and no skills. If they try to learn something new, they don't have the patience for it and aren't willing to endure the hardships. Once they get used to making quick money, they really need to find a rich boyfriend. If they can't find a long-term financial supporter, they really will have to go back to what they did before.
And make less money because they're not the youngest girl to pick from.
Is it acceptable for girls to work at night? I want to tell you a brutal truth. Especially when girls just enter the workforce, they should avoid bars, DJs, KTVs, and bathing centers. Don't go to any of those places. Many people will say, I have principles, I have limits, it's not a problem. But I tell you, this has nothing to do with principles or limits. You need to understand that people are products of their environment. Every day, you face excess and temptation. And when you see other girls accompanying men and receiving large amounts of money, you start to think, what's wrong with that? These girls are always surrounded by luxury items, designer bags, everything. Over time, you get used to it, and your limits begin to loosen. Let me tell you something. I know a friend who works in security, and everyone should know what that job entails. He's the type of guy who looks after escorts. One time he told me, hey, don't be fooled by these girls. They seem normal, but after I take them to a few nightclubs, it's just a matter of time before they change. They start wanting designer bags, designer jewelry, and you might think that holding firm will make a difference.
Nope.
These security guys are very good at leading respectable women down the wrong path. So, my sincere suggestion is that some girls really shouldn't get involved, shouldn't meet or have any contact with this. That's a tip I give you. However, we have to remember that everyone has their own way of life, right?
Yes.
You might say you don't care about these things and that you go to a respectable bar. But I tell you, no matter how respectable the bar is, when people get drunk, they act like animals.
Damn hooligans. And that's when people get thrown out the club and the bar. Because once the alcohol sit in, the truth comes out, you starting fights, picking fights with people you don't know. It just becomes a shit show. The night just ends up being a shit show. And that was another reason why I stopped going to the club. Because once one person gets too drunk, they kick everybody out. You walk up in there, you only been there 10, 15 minutes. And next thing you know, you get that tap on the shoulder. Excuse me, you guys have to leave. I'm like, why? I just got here. Man, I look down. It's popped off.
You know? You might be a dignified person, but a drunk man doesn't care. He might come up and do anything without caring who you are. So, it's essential to keep your distance from this kind of work. The principle is the same. Never think this won't happen to me. Let me give you another example. In China, there's a singer named Luo Qi. Everyone should know her. She's a rock singer, but one of her eyes is blind. Do you know how that happened? She was singing in a bar, and when someone was drunk, they accidentally hit her in the eye. So, if you can, keep your distance. It's really scary.
Crazy.
In the end, what is the outcome for the girls who work in nightclubs? Women who work in this environment face serious difficulties as they age. Don't be fooled by the fact that they may have a few pounds of flesh to sell now, nor should you envy their daily earnings of thousands of yuan. Most of the girls in nightclubs reach their 30s, and due to a decline in immunity and a weakening immune system, they begin to encounter health problems frequently. If they don't get married by the age of 35,
It'll be very difficult. It's not impossible, but difficult. There's always hope.
will be very difficult for them to find a partner throughout their lives. Therefore, those who live this way will eventually have to pay for it sooner or later. Beyond the nightclub women, those who ruin other people's homes are even more unhappy. They may dress elegantly and attractively, but if you pass by them, you'll notice they emit an unpleasant odor, making
That goes for strippers too, because they smell like cigarettes when they come home.
it hard to get close. These women resemble contaminated rats, ultimately dying in a corner with no one to care. It's the law of return, right? The lazier they were in their youth, the more miserable they become in old age. Therefore, as a woman, you can be heartless, but you shouldn't be promiscuous. You can love intensely, but you shouldn't destroy. Some women...
I mean, yeah, your choices are really going to reflect how your golden years are going to be, right? I mean, most people are miserable in their golden years because their past caught up to them. Not necessarily body count, but just in general, bad decisions.
Women fall in love with married men and can't break free. Others get involved with committed men. What should they do? Such women seem to have a built-in system.
Threw her in the pool. And see, understand something. Married men tend to make more money than single men. They have to make more money than single men because of their wives. If you don't make this amount of money, I'm leaving you. If you don't find out a way to get more money, I'm leaving you.
Misfortune. They can't resist momentary pleasures and end up being looked down upon. So my friends, if you want to get rich, stay away from nightclub women. Keep your distance from those who intentionally ruin homes and from those who betray you. Recently, I read a comment from a viewer that makes perfect sense. A woman only matures when men stop buying her drinks.
Ouch. That's the only thing you really have to remember from this video, because I found that the most important line out of the whole video. And a lot of these nightclubs are shutting down, at least here in the West. I'm talking about Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland wise. Nobody's not really hitting the clubs in these areas like that no more. Because to be honest with you, during the COVID, the shutdown, that was the end of the nightclubs right there to begin with. A lot of clubs end up closing down, or they just can't bring the business back that they had. They can't bring back the 2019 customers that they had now. And it's just like the mall. The shopping malls are dying out. The clubs are dying out because everybody's on their phone and there's all these dating apps. So why would you spend all this money going to the club when you just hit up an app? There's an app for an app. Like, there's just so many other ways you can meet people now that just the club wasn't it. This is Kai Veil. Hope you learned something. Subscribe, comment, show some love. Peace.
Thank you.